Fair use act, nigga.
There is nothing wrong with your television set.
Take the children and yourself and hide out in the cellar. By now the fighting will be close at hand.
Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Don't believe the church and state and everything they tell you. Believe in me, I'm with the high command.
If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume.
Never had a doubt in the beginning, never a doubt. Trusted you true. Better you should pray to God, the Father and the Spirit will guide you and protect you from up here.
If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper.
You made me promises, promises, knowing I'd believe. Swore allegiance to the flag, whatever flag they offer. Never hint at what you really feel.
We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical.
Second time around, I'm still believing the words that you said. Teach the children quietly, for someday sons and daughters will rise up and fight while we stood still.
We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity.
Why do I believe?
For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear.
Can you hear me running, calling you? Why do I believe all of your promises? You knew you'd never keep. Why do I believe?
We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure.
Let me start by recapping. The main reason I started this Hillbilly EDU channel was to wake up folks for the lies of this realm when it comes to the shape. This cropped image here is from the 2017 total solar eclipse. The circle the day before, or maybe 2 days before, the moon was over here in this limb. The sun was way down here in the fork. It's cut off, you can't see it, but it was about 92% blocked here. And anyway, this shows the moon and the sun's path were not in alignment. So there's no doubt in my mind it cannot be the moon blocking the sun, which this video I hope to enlighten viewers to more proof that that is true. As anyone knows that's been in this truth community long will tell you, they love to stifle the information that you bring to the folks to wake them from the lies. Just the latest iteration, they claimed copyright, they're going to remove it.
You can try and read my lyrics off of this paper before I lay 'em, but you won't take the sting out these words before I say 'em. Cause ain't no way I'ma let you stop me from causing mayhem. When I say I'ma do something, I do it. I don't give a damn what you think.
Yeah, let's take a trip. Just sit back and light a split with this and don't slip on a funky dope track. Jump back, strapped with a fat Buddha sack and a 7/8 lack on clean. Gangsta lean, I got green, but I serve dubs like it ain't no thing.
I'm doing doing this for me. So fuck the world, feed it beans. It's gassed up, everything's just stopping me. I'ma be what I set out to be, without a doubt, undoubtedly. And all those who look down on me, I'm tearing down your balcony.
But they haven't removed it yet. Most shadow ban and remove videos from my channel are the ones that are most impactful. They don't want you to see it, in other words. Case in point, they removed this claiming it's hate speech. Of course, that's what they do. That's why they created these new rules, calling things hate speech that they don't like. They shadow ban or partially block videos that expose their game that they're pulling on us. So what can you do? You just keep plugging away. This video here, I try to show a historical narrative of Wrong Way Corrigan. I read this book on page 188. He describes the only map he had in the plane was a great circle route of the U.S. No other map. So therefore, he flew by dead reckoning. Again, this is his great circle map, right? And he flew from New York to Ireland, dead reckoning, with nothing more than a compass, okay? He just held a compass heading and flew. He had no other instruments. Just like Lucky Lindbergh. In the rewrite of the history, they try to pretend he had a radio. Well, we know he didn't have a radio.
Now, when they found that ancient Greek computer thing, on what is that called?
The Antikythera mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what does it do?
And it has been determined that that analog computer was used to predict astronomical events.
For more than a century, the Antikythera mechanism taunted historians.
When I bend and I will not vote, we are not friends. I label you foe. I won't let you in, I won't let you close. And I got your pen, my foot on your throat. And I hope you choke for real. Boy, you a joke for real. I'm with the Lord, I'm keeping Jesus with me. You don't want smoke for real. I got that Bible close inside me, the Holy Ghost. I know that you fake it. Everything you say is a lie.
Who invented the Soros cycle? Okay. The ancient Chaldean Babylonian astronomers, aka wise men from the Bible. 7th or 8th century? No, they know exactly when it was created, in the 8th century. Okay, approximately 18 years, or maybe, double that after they saw a couple of these eclipses happen, did they come up with it, and they started plotting and mapping them. According to the research I've done, which has been scrubbed, I might go to the Wayback Machine and find it, there was at least 6 dark orbs that created a bunch of different paths for the solar eclipse. This here has been speculated by many Bible believers as the sign of Jonah. In my mind, this is the very first solar eclipse. Okay? When Jonah preached this message, they fell down in sackcloth, including the king, and they repented, and they did what he said to stave off what they thought would be a plague or destruction upon them by God. That is the true sign of Jonah, the total solar eclipse. Biblical scholar David Weissman speculated that the eclipse took place around when Jonah arrived in Nineveh and urged the people to repent, otherwise the city would be destroyed. This would explain the dramatic repentance of the people of Nineveh. Now, if we go and look at the sign of Jonah, you Google that, what will they show you? Matthew 12:38, and what does it say? The resurrection of Jesus is the sign of Jonah. That is not necessarily true. It is true for Matthew 12. We are to be wise as serpents. Now, I'm not trying to diminish the idea that there is a parallel between the 3 days Jesus was in the grave, and the 3 days Jonah was in the well. Okay, Matthew 12. This is where Jesus explains that he and Jonah are alike in the fact that he will be in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, just like Jonah was in the belly of the well. Jesus will be in the belly of the earth. But what did they ask for? A sign from him. Now watch this. This is Matthew 12. And he says, the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth, just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. That is one interpretation of the sign of Jonah. Now, here is the celestial. Matthew 16, which is what I'm referring to. The Pharisees and Sadducees thought to tempt him and said, show us a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto them, when it's evening, you say will be fair weather, for the sky is red. In the morning it'll be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the times. See? So we've departed from the 3 nights, 3 days in the heart of the earth. He's talking about something entirely different here. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall be no sign given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And that's what I'm saying is the sign of Jonah, the solar eclipse. And we know it began in 763 BC. And they started tracking it so they could predict it, so the wise men would not look foolish like they did at the preaching of Jonah. They didn't know it was going to happen. He's the first one to ever predict it. And God has set it up as a sign, just like the rainbow to us. Now look at how they steer you away from that truth. When you type in sign of Jonah, Matthew 16, what do they say? It refers to the crucifixion and the resurrection. I've just shown you it does not. It has nothing to do with that. God's people perish from a lack of knowledge. Now look what it says here for Matthew 12. Same thing. Jesus' resurrection, which will be that he will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. So they're trying to tell you both chapters refer to the sign of Jonah being the same as Jesus in the earth. God is not the author of confusion. Man is. They're trying to steer you deliberately away from this truth. This story I'm about to show you will prove to you this is the correct interpretation.
The rear gears whispered of eclipses and calendars, but the front was gone. Front was gone. Front was gone. Silenced for 2,000 years. Now that silence has been broken.
This was a spectacular device. It's an analog computer. It doesn't use digital. It uses wheels and gears. This was a device that we wouldn't see again for another 2,000 years.
Artificial intelligence restored the fractured inscriptions, letter by letter, handing engineers the blueprint to rebuild what was missing.
After they were able to finish their thousands of scans of the 82 pieces, something truly amazing emerges, and that is they find writing.
Piece by piece, the lost half returned, and what it calculates is enough to terrify historians. What it calculates is enough to terrify historians. What it calculates is enough to terrify historians.
And they also use a computed X-ray tomography to get closer looks on the inside. What this will help them to do is to create a highly detailed 3D image of the mechanism for the very first time.
A joint team from Britain and Greece brought cutting-edge imaging equipment into the museum. One machine was a 12-ton computed tomography scanner nicknamed the Blade Runner, built in the United Kingdom. It blasted high-energy X-rays through bronze from all angles, producing cross-sections that could be stacked into a three-dimensional view. The other was a reflectance imaging system from Hewlett-Packard, which allowed researchers to virtually relight the surface and pull out faint scratches invisible to the naked eye. Over the course of 2 weeks, the team revealed not only the hidden gears, but also thousands of text characters engraved on the plates. For the first time since the wreck, the machine itself spoke again through its own inscriptions. There was a twist. The highest magnification scans, designed to capture details at a resolution of just a few thousandths of an inch, were marred by glitches. In the 2005 session, roughly 25 of nearly 3,000 scan slices failed to record, and the fragment itself may have shifted slightly. The result was blur and stripes, exactly where researchers most needed clarity. But in 2018, a University College London team returned to the raw data. They painstakingly reprocessed it, filling the missing slices and correcting distortions. The reconstruction sharpened, new letters came into focus, and several contested readings gained certainty. This mattered deeply. A single Greek character on these plates could change the interpretation of a cycle or flip the meaning of a prediction. So what do the readable portions actually show? Let's walk around the back first, because that side survives best. The upper dial is a spiral that winds 5 times around, marking off 235 lunar months, the 19-year Metonic cycle that kept Greek lunisolar calendars aligned with the seasons. Beside it is a subdial counting 76 years, the Callipic cycle, which tightened the long-term accuracy.
Oh, I've been waiting to slide when give it a chance, you know I'ma take it. You fill my mind with doubt, you had me, I was down and out. I was living so sinful, I couldn't find my route, I was lost, all wild and out. Now I'm pressing the issue, we getting down to business, I handle my father business. I'm one of the soldiers, pick up and carry the cross. You no longer sharing my thoughts, nothing is over yet. Oh, that loud voice getting quiet now. Where you at?
The lower half features another spiral with 223 lunar months, the Saros cycle, famous for predicting eclipses. Nested inside that is a smaller dial tracking the Exeligmos, a 54-year triple Saros that corrected the awkward remainder of 8 hours in each cycle, ensuring eclipse timing stayed precise. Another small dial marked out 4-year intervals for the Great Panhellenic Games. None of this is guesswork. These functions are inscribed in bronze. Zoom closer to the Saros spiral, and the machine becomes surprisingly practical. Each cell that might contain an eclipse carries a small glyph, a compact note in Greek. A letter signals whether it is lunar or solar, sigma for Selene, the moon, or eta for Helios, the sun. A symbol resembling an anchor, actually a ligature of omega and rho, means hour, followed by a letter number indicating the time. Phrases like of the day or of the night warn whether an eclipse would be visible from Greece. Beneath each glyph sits an index letter pointing to a block of explanatory text. Those texts describe details like the direction the shadow would come from, how much of the sun or moon would be covered, and even color cues that could be expected. Imagine a user turning the crank to a month, seeing the dial flag in eclipse, and then reading off the type, the timing, and the fuller description. For a device from the 1st century BC, that is breathtaking. The inscriptions also reveal a cultural fingerprint. In 2008, a major study of the backtext identified the full set of month names on the Metonic dial. They did not match the well-known Athenian calendar. Instead, they belonged to the Corinthian family of calendars used in Western Greece, particularly Epirus and Corcyra.
I couldn't find my route, I was lost, all wild and out. Now I'm pressing the issue, we getting down to business. I handle my father business, I'm one of the soldiers. Pick up and carry the cross, you no longer sharing my thoughts, nothing is over yet. Oh, that loud voice getting quiet now. Where you at?
In plain terms, the cover lays down the integer ratios that the missing gear trains had to reproduce. When it says that after a given number of years, a planet completes a precise number of synodic cycles and zodiacal revolutions, that is not a hint. It is a requirement. Any reconstruction of the front must satisfy those ratios. This is what makes the missing half such a challenge. We are not free to imagine any design of the sky we like. We are not free to imagine any design of the sky we like. The surviving gears show what techniques the builders used. The inscriptions dictate which mathematical periods had to appear. And the physical space available in front of the frame sets hard limits on how many wheels and tubes could fit without clashing. A viable reconstruction has to satisfy all 3 constraints at once: mechanical, mathematical, and spatial. And that's where the real challenge begins, rebuilding the lost front and proving it could actually work. At the heart of this design sits a small dome for Earth. Ancient Greek astronomers expected such irregular motion because planets appear to change speed in the sky.
When I in, and I will not vote. We are not friends, I label you foe. I won't let you in, I won't let you close. And I got your pen, my foot on your throat. I got that Bible close inside me, the Holy Ghost. I know that you fake it.
I'd even built a full planetarium model long before the cover inscriptions were fully deciphered.
You want me to take it? You fill my mind with doubt. You had me, I was down and out. I was living so sinful. I couldn't find my route. I was lost, all wild and out. Now I'm pressing the issue. We getting down to business. I handle my father business.
Was his layout perfect? Number. But he demonstrated in solid brass that the front could indeed carry planetary motions using techniques that fit the ancient Greek toolkit. His builds moved the debate from maybe to yes, we can do this, when a University College London team unveiled what they called their model of the cosmos. This wasn't a pretty drawing or a computer animation. It was a full front-side architecture that had to obey hard rules. It had to fit inside the physical clearances left in the surviving frame. It had to reproduce the exact integer period relations carved into the inscriptions, and it had to allow shafts and tubes to pass through the middle without colliding. At the heart of this design sits a small dome for Earth and the system for the Moon. Around that core, the planetary gear trains are wrapped so that their outputs feed into a bundle of thin, nested tubes at the center. If you want to see where the planets are in the heavens, you watch the beads. None of this is a guess. Inscriptions discovered in 2016 described the front in exactly these terms, and the 2021 reconstruction followed those words closely. Together they confirmed that this front face displayed 9 things at once: the Moon, the lunar nodes, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and the calendar date. Let's start with the Moon because it's the heartbeat of the sky. The Moon's pointer shows its position along the zodiac, so you know exactly where it is among the constellations on any given night. The machine even lets you see the Moon's age, meaning the number of days since the last new moon. You read it by comparing the Moon's pointer to the Sun's position on the dial. The difference in days between the two is the Moon's age. Cicero once bragged about a bronze machine that made the Moon keep as many revolutions behind the Sun as the number of days it lags in the sky. That exact trick is built into this device. The Moon follows the Sun, day by day, on the face of the mechanism. Next comes the Sun. Its golden bead glides around the zodiac ring as the year turns. When it crosses the first degree of Aries, spring begins. When it hits Cancer, the summer solstice. At Capricorn, the winter solstice. At Libra, the fall equinox. All of this is visible at a glance. The inscriptions even mention a ray for the Sun, showing its blinding presence in the sky, the same effect that hides planets when they pass too close to it. The 2021 reconstruction gave the Sun exactly that golden marker. Stand in front of the mechanism, and you don't need a calendar. The Sun's bead alone tells you what season it is. The planets each tell their own stories on their rings. And those stories aren't abstract. They're the same milestones ancient observers cared about. Each ring carries markers for events like conjunctions, when a planet is swallowed by the Sun's glare; oppositions, when outer planets stand opposite the Sun and rise as the Sun sets; greatest elongations, when Mercury or Venus swing farthest away from the Sun in the dawn or dusk sky; and the stations, the points where a planet seems to pause and then reverse its path against the stars. The inscription showed that the zodiac scale had little index letters for such events, and the 2021 reconstruction extended that idea to the planetary rings. On Mars's ring, you can see its opposition mark. On Venus's ring, you see the elongation mark. When the bead hits one of these markers, you know the phase of its cycle. Then there's a special hand sweeping the dial that doesn't carry a planet at all. It's a long, serpent-like pointer called the dragon hand. It tracks the Moon's nodes, the 2 points where the Moon's orbit crosses the Sun's path. Ancient astronomers often described eclipses as a dragon swallowing the Sun. Here, the dragon hand drifts slowly across the zodiac. When it slides beneath the sun's bead and enters one of the triangular windows marked on the dial, the machine is telling you an eclipse season has arrived. Eclipses can only happen when the sun is near the nodes, about twice a year, and those seasons are flagged directly on the face. The dragon hand moves slowly, one full circuit in about 18.5 years. That cycle is built into the mechanism. No fragment of a node hand survives, but the way the front and back halves work together makes its presence clear. The dial also works as a calendar. Around the moving rings sit two fixed scales, the zodiac with its 12 signs, and the calendar ring with the days of the year. Tiny index letters are scattered along the zodiac. Each letter matches a line on rectangular panels mounted above and below the dial. These panels hold the parapegma, an ancient list of seasonal sky events, like the first dawn rising of a star or the last evening setting of a constellation. Farmers, sailors, and travelers relied on such markers. The 2016 edition of the texts counted 42 entries, spread across the year. To use it, you just check the sun's position. If its bead sits over a degree with, say, the letter K, you look at the parapegma plate for K. That line tells you which star is due to appear or disappear from the sky at that season. The machine and the panels are designed to be read together. So how would someone actually use the mechanism? Here's a simple walkthrough. You set the date ring so that the calendar lines up with the zodiac. Then you turn the handle forward until you reach the day you want. Now you read the dial. The golden bead shows you the sun's place. The moon's ball shows its phase. The moon's pointer shows its place in the zodiac. Each planet's bead shows where it stands, and the markers tell you which phase of its cycle it's in. If the dragon hand sits under the sun within the triangles, it's eclipse season. If the sun's bead sits over a degree with a small index letter, you check the parapegma panel to see which star will rise or set in that season. In one glance, you've read the sky. The designers added color and material cues so you don't get lost. The sun's bead was golden, as the inscription says. In the reconstruction, Venus carries a deep blue marker, Mercury a turquoise one, so the two speedy inner planets don't get lost in the sun's glare. Spend a little time with each planet, and you can feel why this changes our view of history.
Let's try with this one, supposedly taken from Apollo 17. Notice how the background stays completely black and there is no exposed light coming from the edge of the Earth except for a few specks on the bottom. Now let's try with a real photo of the moon that I personally took. Notice the aura around the moon and the dots of overexposed light. And this one I also took. Again, an aura around the moon and dots of overexposed light. Now, I'm going to show evidence that the moon is not a solid rock, and is see-through. I'm going to take this photo of a phased moon I took, and watch, something interesting happens on the shadowed part of the moon. Notice how the sky here, and the phased part of the moon here, look identical. Shouldn't we be seeing some of the rock where the shadow should be? Now let's take this video of the moon, and freeze the video. Then overexpose the frame. See how the sky here, and the moon here are again identical. Now look what happens when I apply the same thing to this ball that I've cast a shadow on. You can clearly see the ball indeed has a shadow cast on it, and the physical ball itself is blocking the black cloth under it.
One thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed.
Here is the moon in the daytime. Notice how you can see the blue sky through the moon. If you really think about it, shouldn't the moon here be black, if it is in the darkness of space?
Right there, that's Mars, folks. It's not going behind the moon. You can see Mars right there. Mars is supposed to be transitioning behind the moon, and it's right there. It is so cold here this morning. Yeah, there's Mars right there. It's twinkling right in behind the moon there, folks. I gotta go inside. My hands are frozen. But there's Mars. It's supposed to be transitioning behind the moon. It's supposed to reappear at a certain time, and of course it's behind the moon, and the moon is transparent. You can see Mars right there in the middle. Alright, folks. Bullshit scientists can tell their own stories to somebody else. I'm tired of them.
I spoke to this pilot at the airport and asked if he adjusts for the curvature of the Earth, and he didn't really want to engage with me, but I got him to basically concede that he doesn't adjust for curve.
You believe it, you don't believe it, you keep doing what you're doing, yeah? Yeah. So we're flight planning. Ignore what? Well, yes, you ignore it, because if you have a sphere and you're at a distance away from the centre of that sphere and you keep flying the same, you're always creating the same distance away, are you not? Right, but you're not nosing down again. Why would you nose down? Because you have to change orientation. If you have a basketball and you're flying a certain radial away from that basketball, do you have to keep descending? Yes. You do? What do you know about centrifugal force? Centrifugal force is away from the Earth. What about centrifugal force? Centrifugal force. One pulls away and one attracts. They're opposite. Yes, they're opposite. Dude, I'm sorry, we're flight planning. Don't have plan. You don't believe it? You believe what you want. Get back on your TikToks.
We were just asking.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks.
Been waiting to slide, when give it a chance, you know I'ma take it. You fill my mind with doubt, you had me, I was down and out. I was living so sinful, I couldn't find my route, I was lost, all wild and out. Now I'm pressing the issue, we getting down to business. I handle my father business, I'm one of the soldiers. Pick up and carry the cross, you no longer sharing my thoughts. Now that there's an over yet. Oh, that loud voice getting quiet now. Where you at?